the conditions that we need to get match fit for, dealing with complexity and ambiguity and uncertainty. And what I want to do today is give you some tools for how you can think about doing that for yourself, and also how you can think about bringing that into your workplace and helping to create the conditions for other people to thrive in the face of uncertainty. Because as much as it's going to be an individual competitive advantage, it's also going to be a competitive advantage of organisations to have that capacity to contend with uncertainty and the unknown. So one of the reasons this is so important is we all know we're contending with a lot of this, right? And in fact, Gartner's own research a couple of months ago came out and said it's not just one roller coaster the average person's going through, it's about 10 of these simultaneously. And we all know that there are some people who are straight out the other side, kind of at the end of the transformation journey. The way I like to create an analogy with that, the people we know in our lives, is do anyone resonate or have someone in their life who's the person that camps outside the Apple store the moment they release a new bit of technology because they just need to be the first person in the country to get their hands on it? So they're our early adopters, straight out the other side, on board with your transformation. And way down the other end of the spectrum, don't have to identify whether you are this person or know this person, but we generally have someone in our lives who's still doing CPR to their Nokia flip phone, because God forbid that thing should die and they have to progress with their technological revolution, right? And ironic, I know, talking to CTOs and CIOs about the technology adoption curve, but we know there's a cultural element to it, right? I had the privilege of interviewing Malcolm Gladwell not too long ago, and one of the things he talked about is this disconnect often between when the technology or the opportunity, the potential exists, and the timing of the ability to accept it. You know, one of the stories he tells, and for those who've read his work, is about the telephone and how the telephone, the capability to communicate like that between human beings, existed long before it found a use case, and certainly long before it gained any kind of broad acceptance and uptake and use. And so there's this piece to thinking through, how do we support people to go on this journey of change and transformation with us? And how do we acknowledge that this is the backdrop that we're dealing with all the time, and adapt our strategies accordingly for that world? So what I want to talk a little bit about today, forgive me, I don't know why that box is appearing on the screen in the top right, it's got another graphic from something else, but I want to talk about some strategies from my book. People often ask me, with the work that I do, I get the great privilege of interviewing some of the most extraordinary leaders across the world. I've just finished a 3-city tour with James Clear over the last couple of days, the guy who wrote Atomic Habits and has built a habit-changing culture around the world. I've interviewed presidents, world champions, you name it. And people often ask the question, is there any commonality amongst all these high achievers who've been able to not just achieve